for all and take on Mexican drug cartels to halt the flow of deadly fentanyl. Brent Orrin Hatch knows the national debt is just as big a threat to national security. Hatch won't rest until the budget's balanced and won't cave to the big spenders in both parties. Pro-life, deeply committed to religious liberty, rock-solid Utah conservative. Brent Orrin Hatch for Senate. Paid for by Conservative Outsider PAC, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.copac.us.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house. Whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson.
Our goal every day on Inside Sources is to help you divide the rage from the reason, elevate the conversation, connect the dots, and make the news make sense in your world. We have conversations with great thinkers, with great leaders, and great people who are just out there making a difference in the world. Now, we do talk about politics, but only so we can discuss society and culture. And then we explore society and culture so we can discuss principles and the people in America and the state of Utah who actually live them and apply them every day. We bring the best and brightest minds to the state of Utah, and we love to take the Utah model and send it out to our nation's capital and beyond. Every day on Inside Sources, you'll be part of that conversation. To help you understand things in a different way, we'll get you to think again about what you think you know. But most important, we're going to help you have confidence to have crucial conversations in your community and in your own home.
Join Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson, 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
Boyd Matheson divides rage from reason on Inside Sources.
Well, we might want to divide the rage from the reason, but we cannot separate the madness of March. If you're just joining and tuning in, the BYU Cougars went down in their first round game. And as we look at the political news of the day, of course, many are keeping their eyes on the House and the Senate, which tend to be a day late and a dollar short, and everybody wonders if they're going to show up. Which was sort of the problem with BYU basketball today. They were a day late and a dollar short. They started very flat in the first half, came out very slow, played catch-up the whole way, made progress, and then did the same thing in the second half. Showed up a little bit too late. The hole was a little too deep to dig all the way out. And so that is the end of the BYU Cougars basketball season for the year. But the March Madness continues, and we'll continue to track all of that. And we're going to track as we go into the second hour of the show. We will actually get into what is happening in our nation's capital, which a day late and a dollar short and not showing up may not cut it when we look at $34 trillion of national debt. And the clock is ticking, of course. Congress has to get some things done by tomorrow night at midnight in order to fund the government, prevent a partial government shutdown. And things are on track for that, although most folks are none too happy with the process or the product that was the result. In the middle of the night last night, negotiators in the House and the Senate revealed a $1.2 trillion package that needs to be moved through swiftly in order to be able to be signed into law before midnight tomorrow night. But there's a lot of things in there, and there's a lot of things left out. And so we will explore all of that in hour number 2 of the show. We'll kick off at 2:05. Talking with our friends at the Washington Post about what is in, what is out, and what comes next as it relates to the budget. And then we're going to have some great conversations moving forward in terms of what could actually save American democracy. And it might be something that seems a little more simple than you might think, something we all can be part of. And then we'll round out the program today talking about something very important as today is International Down Syndrome Day. And we'll close that out in hour number 2. So we'll step aside for some top of the hour news and then Inside Sources. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 2 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. And we have breaking news. A third teenager has now been arrested in the abduction and murder of a man in Taylorsville earlier this week. Police say they don't believe there are any other outstanding suspects in the case. Alex Franco was taken from his home, and his body was found in a remote area of Utah County a couple of days later. 46-year-old man has died after authorities in the Utah Highway Patrol say he was driving his truck the wrong way on I-15, crashed into a military transport bus.
We did have an on-duty Davis County deputy that was here on scene that was able to pull the victim out of his own truck, begin life-saving measures on him, but ultimately the victim of this wrong-way vehicle passed away here on scene.
UHP Lieutenant Chamberlain Neff says the driver was taken to a hospital with minor injuries, the driver of the bus. The bus was carrying 23 ROTC cadets from Utah State University. They were all okay and able to get to their destination at Camp Williams. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The search continues in Idaho and across the West for an inmate who escaped from a hospital in Boise yesterday. Skylar Mead got away with the help of an accomplice, Nicholas Umfenauer, who fired at the officers who were leaving the hospital. Mead is 5 feet 6 inches tall, has a shaved head, and numerous tattoos. And it's time for our KSL bracket update with Jason Jones. Hi, Jason.
Hey, Dan. Well, as soon as I hit submit on my bracket this morning, I thought, man, I really hate my bracket. And it only got worse from there because I picked Mississippi State and BYU, both losers, earlier games this morning. However, Creighton did pick up a win over Akron, which did help me out quite a bit. And currently, Arizona is a big leader over at the Delta Center over Long Beach State. Looks like they're going to pick up a win there. Right now, North Carolina leading Wagner early in the second half. With your KSL bracket update, I'm Jason Jones.
And follow NCAA tournament updates and all other sports updates on KSLSports.com. On the way, it looks like it's getting cloudy and we'll see a little rain over the weekend. That's next. KSL News Time 2:02.
News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Step into a world of home transformation with The Blind Man, your ultimate partner in creating your dream home. Whether on a new home journey or refreshing your space, The Blind Man has you covered. Literally. Envision the latest styles, cutting-edge technology, and elegance in shades, shutters, or blinds. Now, if you hesitated to turn your dreams into reality, the moment has arrived. The Blind Man's Buy 4, Get 1 Free extravaganza on all exclusive Blind Man brand window coverings is here. Not just a sale, but a dream opportunity. Picture your home bathed in natural light or shaded for moments of privacy. The Blind Man understands your needs. They want all homes to be masterpieces. Unlock your dream home with the Blind Man's Buy 4, Get 1 Free deal. It's not just a window of opportunity. It's a gateway to artistic bliss. Don't miss out. Visit theblindman.com for a free in-home consultation. Yeah, free. Let the Blind Man transform your vision. Theblindman.com, where dreams meet reality.
From Ogden to St. George, Utah's premier window covering provider, The Blind Man.
It's finally time to say goodbye to the snow and hello to spring, and right now is the best time to spring into adventure in an RV from a Motorsportsland RV Center. Through this week, come check out Motorsportsland's season kickoff event and find the RV of your dreams at best of your pricing. Is your next adventure in a Class A motorhome? Come check out our 33-foot Georgetown 33B3 right now and save over $57,000 off MSRP. Or maybe a luxury fifth wheel is more your style. Check out our Durango Gold 386 FLF right now for over $45,000 off MSRP. Want to bring all the toys? Check out our 30-foot Raptor Carbon Series toy hauler on sale now for under $37,000 with financing under $340 a month OAC. Ask about zero down financing options as well. See details and more amazing deals on premium RVs at motorsportsland.com.
Let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Motorsportsland.com.
In the history of the world, nobody has ever said, yay, we need a new roof. But when things aren't quite right up there, don't wait. Call IWC Roofing, the highest rated roofing contractor in Utah. IWC has been in business since 1997, and they offer the best value pricing in Utah, along with the best warranty in the business. They're one of the few Owens Corning Platinum certified roofers in the entire state. They have their own installers, no subcontractors crawling around on your roof. And at IWC Roofing, they'll send you pictures from up on the roof to show that you're getting exactly what you paid for in most cases, they'll re-roof your home in one day. They'll clean up and pressure wash your driveway. IWC roofs more homes than any other company in Utah, so they can offer you a better price. And right now, an extra $1,500 off your new roof. Call IWC Roofing for a no-pressure quote, 801-232-5690. Call 801-232-5690 or go to IWCRoofingUtah.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Ricky Meese.
Salt Lake County Freeway traffic looking good. We have a slightly reduced speed on southbound I-15, and it's due to a right lane restricted with road work from Riverdale Road down to Roy. Elevate your home and landscape with beautiful flowers for the landscape patio or front porch with bedding plants or container gardens from Olson's Greenhouse. Find a retailer near you at OGG.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
And our KSL weather, clouds tomorrow with a chance of rain likely on Saturday along with mountain snow. Right now is 61 degrees and cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources. America's voice of reason. Boyd Matheson on Utah's home for elevated conversation. Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
Well, here we are once again with the shutdown showdown. Legislation revealed in the middle of the night. People are going to actually read a little bit of it today. We want to find out what's in it, what's not in it, what does it mean? Does anybody need to read in their hands before we get to the midnight on Friday? I don't think so. But there's a lot in there. There's a lot that got left out of there. And we want to figure out what does it all mean and where do we go from here? So let's begin.
Think you know the news of the day? Think again with Boyd Matheson on KSL News Radio.
Well, as predicted, we would get a bill in the middle of the night with not a lot of time for everyone to really scour through it. Though we saw all of this coming. This is, I forget what version of Groundhog Day we are on this particular round. We've been doing this since back in November. And so as we look at it, I do want to get into some of the things that are and aren't in the bill because it's made, of course, some on the conservative right angry. There's some on the left that are angry. We'll find out what's in the middle as well. And really pleased to have back on the program with us Jacob Bougage, covers the economic policy in Congress for the Washington Post. A great piece in the Post talking about the $1.2 trillion spending bill. And Jacob, welcome back to the show.
Always good to be with you.
So give us kind of your top-line assessment of the top-line numbers in terms of what this actually means and what the process looks like over the next 24 hours.
Oh, boy. Okay, $1.2 trillion bill. It's big. I mean, not just in dollar amount. It's like 1,000 pages that covers everything from the Defense Department, Homeland Security, State Department, all the way down to like the Departments of Labor and the Departments of Education. There are some interesting things in here that are wins that both parties will claim. A 5.2% pay increase for military service members kind of lands right in the middle. Funding for the Department of Homeland Security was one of these things that really held up the process, which is why we literally got this bill at 3 o'clock in the morning, East Coast time last night. And that, this bill kind of turned into a proxy fight between the White House and Republicans in Congress over border policy and immigration policy. And so what you end up with is 42,000 beds in detention facilities, so increasing detention capacity for undocumented immigrants and migrants. You get 22,000 new Border Patrol agents, 22,000 total Border Patrol agents, so an increase in the manpower there, 25% more funding for technology along the border, things like underground tunnel detection and unmanned surveillance systems. And those are big Republican wins. And there are some Democrats who really wanted those as well because they feel like they need to toughen up on the border before the election. And then the other major item is funding for a group called UNRWA, which is the United Nations Relief Works Agency for Palestine, genocide and the massacre on October 7th in Israel, and there had been a push to defund that group. Republicans were successful in doing that. So that is the major agency that gets food, housing, medicine to refugees in Gaza and in the West Bank. That's not getting any more funding for at least 12 months from the United States.
Yeah, and so as you look at how this plays out moving forward, the House is racing through swiftly to see if they can't get their vote early in the day tomorrow. What are you hearing on the Senate side in terms of they'll obviously have to tweak some rules there in order to get it done before midnight Friday night? What are you hearing on that front?
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting, and it is going to put personalities and relationships in the Senate front and center, frankly, even more than the policy disagreements. The House will probably vote on this around 11 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. That's going to give the Senate the rest of the day, but if they went by the book, they would need 30 hours to debate it. They may not need 30 hours if all 100 senators consent to give back their debate time. That is a very difficult thing to do. There are a lot of, especially Republicans, who are going to want amendment votes on this that generally will fail. But they're important messaging tools. Folks like Senator Mike Lee from Utah, Bill Hagerty from Tennessee, Rand Paul from Kentucky have all signaled they want amendment votes. The major personality complication here is Senator Susan Collins from Maryland, whose mother recently passed away. She hasn't missed a vote in the Senate for about 10 years. She's also the senior Republican appropriator. Her mother's funeral is on Saturday. Oh. And so that creates this human incentive. There are 100 senators. Think about the 100 people that work where you work or in your neighborhood. You have relationships with them. And are you willing to do them a favor, even if, it might not mean getting what you want? And so will Senator Mike Lee from Utah yield back his time or hasten that process so that they can vote on Friday night and not just avoid a shutdown, but allow one of his colleagues to get out of town and get back to Maine to be with her family? Yeah. Will Rand Paul do that? Will Michael Bennet from Colorado, who's very hawkish on Ukraine and wanting to get them more funding, will he yield back time? So this is going to be really interesting to watch, not just from a policy perspective, but from a personality. Yeah. How does Washington work?
Yeah, I think that's such an important thing. I'm so glad you raised that because we often miss that in a lot of these process things and all of the navigation and all the dollars and cents and all the things that get slapped into a 1,000-page bill like this. But this personal component with Senator Susan Collins having a family member pass away, I think that becomes a really interesting dynamic that nobody's really talking about. Jacob, thanks so much as always for joining us. Great perspective. We look forward to having you back soon.
It's always a pleasure. Thanks, Boyd.
All right, again, that's Jacob Bougage from the Washington Post. And again, that little dynamic, again, everyone wants, and I should say everyone should expect that when you have a 1,000-page bill that spends $1.2 trillion, you ought to have some debate about that. You ought to have more than 30 hours to just read it. I don't know how fast you read. That's reading really fast. This does not read like a Harry Potter book. This is some pretty complicated language. And then you have to remember that the House and the Senate are designed for amendments, an amendment process. We always talk about compromise. Compromise happens when amendments are offered. But I doubt there will be any because everyone's going to say, shutdown, showdown. We cannot shut down even partially the government. But now we also have a human element to this with the senior Republican when it comes to this kind of bill. Susan Collins having a family member pass away in a funeral on Saturday morning. How does that complicate and mix the dynamic a little bit? We'll continue to follow that really closely as this continues to march its way forward. We'll be right back.
Think again on Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson.
Paid for by government.com.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 Gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 50 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-473-3993. And you are guaranteed a $10 Gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These Gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-473-3993. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-473-3993 now to secure your $10 Gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-473-3993.
It's NCAA bracket time, and we have you covered. Today and tomorrow, get bracket updates every 15 minutes. Find out who's winning, who's losing, and who's busting your bracket. KSL Bracket Fun, all day today and tomorrow on KSL News Radio.
When the weather warms up, it's like a stampede, except instead of dust stirred up by hundreds of hooves, it's a cascade of phone calls to Advanced Window Products. This is Jeff Kaplan. Soon as the sun shines and the snow's gone, people want new windows and frames from Utah's #1 custom window maker, and the wait for installation grows longer. But right now, you can get near the front of the line by calling for a quote and get $2,500 off when you purchase 10 windows or more. That's on top of the incredible savings for the highest quality double-pane windows and frames, any style, any color. See, at Advanced Window Products, they actually build the windows here in Utah, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. There's no middleman, and they can pass the savings on to you. They even offer buy now, pay later. So get in before the wait grows longer and get the $2,500 off. Get your new windows this spring. Make the call. Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. Or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
Spring is a great time to elevate the look of your home and landscape by adding beautiful flowers to the yard and patio. And pros and hobbyists alike know that the best flowers are grown by Olson's Greenhouse, right here in the mountain valleys of Utah. This is Brian with Olson's Greenhouse, and my family has been growing flowers with love and care for over 80 years. That's 4 generations of a local, family-run Utah business. So whether you're looking to add a pop of color to the back patio or a beautiful flower bed to the front landscape, flowers from Olson's Greenhouse are the perfect finishing touch to make your yard a joy to relax in. Stop by OGG.com or find us on Instagram at Olson's Greenhouse Gardens, where you'll find inspiring photos to get you going on your flower gardening journey. You can also find a local retailer carrying plants from Olson's Greenhouse. That's OGG.com for Olson's Greenhouse Gardens, where you can dream big, dream bold, and dream in color with beautiful plants and flowers from Olson's Greenhouse.
Believe it or not, most small businesses don't have a 401k. If you don't have a 401k, you are missing out on the greatest wealth creation tool ever created. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and many 401ks are overpriced for the employer, have expensive and underperforming investment options, and have tedious administrative provisions. Not at Trajan Wealth. We can set up a 401k for a company for only $8 per employee, a $65 per plan fee, plus a small advisory fee. That's right, not thousands or even the tens of thousands you've been quoted. And do it all in less time than it takes to sit in traffic. If you have 5 or more employees, these 401ks will help you attract and retain top talent. And if you're an employee and don't have a 401k, tell your boss. Call Trajan Wealth today. Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Services offered through a third-party partner.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bonas. First, the driver of a pickup truck killed on I-15 early this morning when he crashed into a bus going the wrong way. The bus driver was injured. Second, police across the West searching for a prison inmate who escaped from a hospital in Boise. Third, a KSL bracket update. Every 15 minutes, here's Jason Jones.
Fun game from the East region right now as Illinois and Morehead State are 39-36 right before the halftime. Also early in the first half, Oregon against South Carolina. It's 7-7. Earlier winners included Creighton, Arizona, Michigan State, and Duquesne over BYU. Sadly, BYU's season is over. The KSL bracket update. I'm Jason Jones. Follow NCAA tournament updates and all other sports updates on KSLSports.com. Now back to Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson.
Get deeper insights on the news from Inside Sources.
We always say on this show that we only talk about politics so we can explore society, and we explore society so we can talk about the principles and the people in this country who actually live them, and organizations that are out there making a difference every day. Of course, St. Francis of Assisi said, always preach the gospel when necessary, use words. And so it is what we do, and we love to explore those that are out there making a difference. Today, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints issued their 2023 summary entitled Caring for Those in Need, to highlight the church's work in caring for those in need. And joining us on the program, really pleased to have joining us Blaine Maxfield, who's the Managing Director, Welfare and Self-Reliance Services at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And Blaine, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Boyd. I'm really glad to be here.
So let's start with kind of the high-level things that are pretty stunning in and of themselves, just in terms of the depth and reach of some of the humanitarian aid and some of the volunteer services extended during the course of the past year.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing this up, and we're thrilled to be able to talk about this and to just highlight all of those implementing organizations and volunteers all over the world who do so much to help so many, as you mentioned here. This year we were able to, highlight this past year, efforts in over 190 countries, 191 countries and territories. And, more than 4,100 humanitarian projects were carried out in those countries. One of the great highlights of it, Boyd, really, from our perspective, is the more than 6 million volunteer hours that were contributed, as I mentioned. And, these hours can vary year to year depending on, various factors that happen around the world. But you just kind of picture all those people one by one, helping, whether in an emergency project or helping in various ways those that are in need, really following the example of Jesus Christ, trying to serve and help and follow the great two commandments, to love God and to love our neighbor.
Yeah, so powerful. And the thing that really stood out for me is it's easy to get caught on the headline of just the dollars and cents, $1.3 billion in expenditures. That's a big number. You could chase that for a lot of places, but I'm so glad you raised this 6.2 million hours volunteered, and my guess is that's probably an underestimation of that, but it highlights something that I think is so important. We often talk about power and position, and a lot of people think they have to have a title or to be in some place out in the public to make a difference. We love those who can lead from any point of the compass, and as you mentioned, it amidst those 6.2 million hours volunteered, there's a lot of neighbor helping neighbor in need in those hours.
Well, we love that, and you're right. It's likely underreported because of that. Just the neighbor helping neighbor. Often in our minds, we like to just think, "Oh, I need to be in all these places that I'm hearing on the headlines to really help." When the greatest help likely is happening right across the street from you. And, in our summary here, we've listed and encouraged friends and members of the church alike to help others in their community by identifying needs and building relationships with them, making plans and sharing experiences. At the end of every summary page, we're saying, what can I do to help? How can I help, in my community and those that are closest to me?
And that's so important. And I love that there's such an extension there that you're, on one hand, you're thanking the members of the Church of Jesus Christ and all of those friends and organizations that are so part of that interconnectedness that makes all of this work possible.
Yeah, it's just remarkable. And there's so much work to be done. And we certainly are a small player in it. And we look to get help from various implementing organizations and others that help us along the way. So we're very grateful for the collaboration that takes place.
Yeah, that interfaith and just that interconnectedness, I think, extends the reach so far. Give us a sense of some of the things that stood out for you, Blaine, in terms of things that maybe are, again, part of that under-the-radar thing where really a difference was being made in a local community.
Well, one of the things that we've really loved to see, particularly in a local community, has to do, of course, we start with emergency response. In that, there were 415 emergency relief projects in 94 countries that took place last year. Some of them, are really close to recent reporting for us, pertaining to what happened in Hawaii, for example, where we remember the tragedy that took place in Maui and Lahaina in particular, and the various amounts of stories that took place with volunteers from our church, other organizations helping. One of the key things, Boyd, that really stands out for me is also the psychological first aid that we were able to render that were there. We often think of the water and the food and the employment, but there's a real psychological toll that takes place in a time of a tragedy, and we are so pleased to partner with so many to really help in those efforts as well.
Yeah, and so often we hear from governments, we hear from big NGOs, that the real key to dealing with, whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's a human disaster of some sort, that churches and faith groups are not only the first in, but they're always the last to go, because they actually stay in those communities and really look at it for the long haul, where sometimes it is just those water bottles going in and food and blankets, but it's really that long-term perspective that really makes a difference.
And the lift that comes along with the community when they see what's happening and the work that's taking place to help someone in perhaps their darkest hour, it really becomes a halo effect, so to speak, on that community. And we've seen it time and time again where communities will set aside maybe disagreements in various ways and look for ways to unite and come together, in part because of the way that they see the aid is being rendered.
Yeah, so important. If you're just joining us, we have Blaine Maxfield, Managing Director of the Welfare and Self-Reliance Services of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, highlighting their 2023 summary, Caring for Those in Need, highlighting over 4,100 humanitarian projects in 191 countries, over $1.3 billion in expenditure, 6.2 million hours volunteered. And Blaine, before I let you go, because this just makes me exhausted just thinking about everything going into all of this, give us the one thing that we all ought to be thinking about as it relates to what can we do, what's our role, whether it's a just serve opportunity, a neighbor in need, or it is something around the world. How should we be approaching all of those?
I love this, and it's a big part of what we need to do by first look around those that are close to us to identify a need. And then, have courage. We really hope that this summary will help all of us who need help every now and then to say, how do I put my best intentions into action? And so now I've identified a need. I can build relationship with somebody that's like me or somebody that I've never met before, where I can go and set aside any concern that we have and say, how can we help? Make plans together and look for those experiences. We really have been doing that and are so pleased with the work of the Relief Society General Presidency, Boyd. As members of the Welfare and Self-Reliance Executive Committee, they're really leading out on an effort, which is a key thing as a part of the summary this year, to improve the health and development of children and their mothers. And it's really, this initiative has been aiming to improve access to nutrition and immunizations and maternal and newborn care. Who knows better how to help than a mother? And so this is a beautiful experience where we can reach out to those that are closest to us and follow that example to care for those most in need.
I love that. And I had an opportunity to sit down with President Camille Ann Johnson, the General Relief Society presidency, and she said something that was so powerful. She said, if you want to change a community, if you want to transform a country, it begins with a mother and a baby, making sure they have their needs, they become self-reliant, they lead the community, and then everything begins to change for the better. This is an extraordinary work, and Blaine, we appreciate so much you spending a little bit of time on, I know is a very busy day for you. This is great work. This is what making a difference. We say it every day to close the show. See something that inspires, say something that uplifts, do something that makes a difference. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints clearly is doing some things around the world that are making a difference. Blaine Maxfield, Managing Director, Welfare and Self-Reliance Services, thanks so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Again, that's Blaine Maxfield from the Church of Jesus Christ, and such a powerful thing. Yes, $1.3 billion in expenditures in humanitarian aid, welfare, self-reliance, 6.2 million hours volunteered, and programs that range from immunization to health care, and so many things in between. But as Blaine said, it really comes down to neighbors helping neighbor in need. That's where we can all begin, because we can all lead from any point on the compass. We'll be right back.
It's 2:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. 46-year-old man died after police say he was driving the wrong way on I-15 before his truck smashed into a bus full of ROTC cadets from Utah State University. KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
You can see the driver's side wheel and front part of that bus all smashed in. The pickup truck Utah Highway Patrol says was going the wrong way is completely destroyed on the front end. Troopers said they did all they could to save the truck driver, but he died on scene. All 23 ROTC cadets are okay and were eventually able to finish their trip down to Camp Williams. Their bus driver was taken to the hospital with minor injuries.
The police are still trying to figure out what led up to that crash. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Department of Justice has filed an antitrust lawsuit against the nation's top smartphone maker, alleging Apple engages in unfair practices, including limiting the functionality of cross-platform messaging and apps that make it easier to switch to Android. DOJ says it's all meant to keep users locked into Apple products. Apple strongly disputes that accusation. And with our KSL bracket update now, here's Jason Jones.
And they've gone to the half in the East region. Illinois with a 1-point lead, 39-38 over Morehead State. Swiveling around in my chair here, I see that North Carolina currently with a 20-point lead over Wagner. That's 5 minutes left in that game. Early in the first half, South Carolina 14-13 over Oregon. Your earlier winners, Creighton, Arizona, Michigan State, and Duquesne takes out BYU. With the KSL bracket update, I'm Jason Jones.
Follow NCAA tournament updates and all other sports updates on KSLSports.com. And we'll be looking at traffic in just a moment here. And right now it looks like we've got nice weather through tomorrow, but then storms for the weekend. That's next. KSL News Time, 2:31.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the nines, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
What would you say if I told you you could get a free furnace? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I hope you'd at least say, tell me more. Now, before you get too excited, let me explain how this works and why we do our free furnace sale. We feel like we've got the best HVAC techs around and we want to keep them. But the only way we can do that is if they're working and providing for their families, so we set money aside for this free furnace sale. We're only able to give you this great deal because you're helping us keep our guys busy. It's actually great if you've been thinking about replacing both your furnace and air conditioner, because when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services by March 31st to schedule a free estimate. One of our HVAC supervisors will come to your home and explain all the details. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services today and schedule your free estimate. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
IVC, Interventional Vascular and Vein Center, is having a Hello Spring special event on Saturday, March 23rd. This will be a free screening for varicose veins at their office in Provo. Don't let leg pain slow you down. Come and learn why starting now is ideal to get you ready for summer. IVC has been in business for over 20 years and has been voted the best vein center of Utah Valley for 10 years running. IVC's doctors, advanced practice providers, and sonographers will be on hand to answer your questions. So stop in to IVC on Saturday, March 23rd for a free varicose vein screening. Space is limited, so please RSVP right now. Let's spring new life into your step. Visit ivein.com. ivein.com. That's the letter I, VEIN.com to schedule your new year, new legs free screening at IVC. Because life starts when the pain stops.
At JCW's, we think tipping might be getting a little out of hand. Like when you're asked to tip at the register before you've even been served, or when you're at the yogurt shop and find yourself serving yourself. And don't even get us started on frosted tips making a comeback. That's why at JCW's, when you pay for a 3rd-pound ranch bacon cheeseburger, that's what you pay. And no one at the register is going to stare longingly at you while you awkwardly maneuver through the tip screen for food you don't even have yet. Honestly, we're just happy to see you at any of our 5 locations in Provo, South Jordan, Lehigh, Harriman, and American Fork. So come on in and enjoy some quality time and great food with family and friends. And we promise, we won't be pushing you for a tip.
Hey, this is Chris with JCW's, and we just want to say thank you, and especially to our loyal customers. We want you to know that at JCW's, your business is all the tip we need. JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
Traffic and weather together now, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Ricky Meese.
Crews have just moved a crash out of the way southbound Bangerter Highway at California Avenue. It still may be blocking a lane of travel, but they are working to get it off to the shoulder. But if you're traveling through that area right now, no major delays. Replenish Landscape provides the finest compost and landscape products for flower and vegetable gardens. Start your season right with Replenish. Visit replenish.com. Replenish, it's good stuff. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
And our KSL weather, clouds tomorrow with a chance of rain. Rain likely on Saturday along with mountain snow. Right now, 61 degrees, mostly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources. America's voice of reason. Boyd Matheson on Utah's home for elevated conversation. Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
Well, it's always a good day here on Inside Sources as we do what we try to do every day, and that is to talk past the headlines of the politics and the D.C.-based solutions to everything and actually get to big ideas and brilliant thinkers. And that's what we're going to do in this segment. So just wherever you are, sit down, grab a pen. This is what it's all about. Really excited to have joining us on the program Leah Hunt Hendricks, co-author of a brilliant piece in the New York Times, The One Idea That Could Save Democracy. And Leah, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So obviously on a day like today, everyone's talking about shutdown showdowns and what's happening in Washington. We've got big politics going in 2024 with no one being too excited about the choices. And I love the fact that you begin your piece in the New York Times talking about the fact that we're not going to solve any of these things by voting alone, and that solidarity, it may be the secret sauce to the future of the country. Explain that for us.
Sure. And yeah, we have this piece in the New York Times. It's actually based on a book that we just published as well. So if you want the whole story, buy the book. But so we think of solidarity is a word that gets thrown around, but we never really unpack it the way that we do with concepts like freedom or justice. So we try to really go into the history of what this idea means. And it doesn't just mean we should just all get along. It's not like a Pollyanna thing. It means that we really are fundamentally interconnected and actually interdependent. And the idea goes all the way back to ancient Rome, where it's rooted in economics and a concept of mutual debt. And then it gets revived in the 1800s and during the Industrial Revolution. People are thinking about how are we going to hang together as society's changing so much. The democratic revolutions are overthrowing monarchies. The church is in decline. And people are like, how are we going to hang together without God or king? And so this idea is about how do we rebuild social cohesion? How do we find our commonality despite our differences? And the labor movement also picks up the term and is thinking about, social cohesion partly involves, economic justice, a redistribution of economic goods. So there are all these different ideas about what solidarity means, but over and over, when people refer to it, they think of it not as unity because we're not the same,
right,
but we're actually working together because we're different, and despite those differences. So in this really pluralistic country, it's a beautiful and amazing thing how many differences we have, but we're not going to survive if we just focus on individual freedom or individual success.
Yeah, I think that's so vital, that oneness is not sameness, and it's that unity, it's that solidarity. We value the diversity and we experience all of that with one another, but it's that solidarity that brings us together, that oneness in terms of what we do together. And one of the things that I love that you pointed out, both in the piece and in your book as well, is this idea of both Democrats and Republicans and society at large, we become more and more isolated, and that connective tissue of solidarity and society has really deteriorated. Give us a little deeper dive into that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of attacks on solidarity because I think we all crave it. And so but it's threatening to the status quo.
Yeah.
You know, when social movements kind of rise up demanding changes, that's a threat to some people. So, you know, it's illegal in some cases solidarity strikes are illegal in our labor law when one union would strike in solidarity with another union. It's illegal in some cases to aid migrants or to help people seeking reproductive care. So there are these real attacks, and I think we need to recognize that those are strategies and tactics to divide and conquer, and see that and feel empowered to hang together all the more, because it's sort of an indication that progress is happening.
Yeah, it definitely is when the elite or those in power, and whether that's political power or economic power, business power, when they start getting nervous, then they're going to try to divide us all the more. They've been doing that for centuries, that if you want to maintain the status quo, sow seeds of division, get everybody to see each other as other, undermine that solidarity, and that does keep the status quo and keeps those in power in power.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, in the wake of some of the racial justice protests of 2020 and the years surrounding that, we've seen a recent backlash. You know, calling everyone woke and sort of shaming people back into their corners, or more recently attacks on trans kids, shaming people for trying to express their gender identities. And if you look at it, these attacks are generally fueled by right-wing billionaires. You know, Bill Ackman recently has been leading the attack on Harvard's former president, or Elon Musk's attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And they distract us from what we have in common, kind of targeting minorities while they're amassing more wealth and power. So, for example, you know, while Elon Musk is tweeting about diversity, saying that that's destroying the world, meanwhile, one of his companies, SpaceX, is suing the National Labor Relations Board, hoping to get it designated as unconstitutional, which would strip workers of their power and protection everywhere. So that has a huge consequence for all of us.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. This is a great read. It got me thinking and rethinking what I think I know, which is what we always try to do on this show. And Leah Hunt Hendricks, great piece, great book. We appreciate you sharing some insight and perspective there that we all should be thinking about today. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, again, that's Leah Hunt Hendricks. And again, the book is called Solidarity, the Past, Present, and Future of a World-Changing Idea. And it is so interesting. I think we often get lost in all the division stuff because, again, regardless of where you fall politically on the spectrum, division is the way to maintain the status quo. It's also the way to keep the power in the powerful. And so what we have to do is we have to step back from all of that. And I think, to me, the thing we've got to get back to is how do we get back to that kind of solidarity, that kind of interconnectedness in our communities, because that's where it actually happens, and that's what actually strengthens the nation. And so until we can get back to those kinds of conversations and figure out what's my role in this, how do I make a difference? We value the differences in one another, but right where we started, oneness is not sameness. And so when we value that diversity, when we see that diversity as a way to get to unity and solidarity, then we're on a very different path. We're having a very different conversation that will lead us to very different and much better results. We'll step aside for one last break. Some final thoughts for Inside Sources coming up next right here on KSL News Radio.
If there's a problem during your siding, gutter, or window installation project, most contractors will try to hide it, ignore it, or blame someone else. It's called passing the buck or turning a blind eye, or my favorite, finger pointing. My question is, where is the accountability? Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and look, sometimes problems just happen, no matter who you hire. Maybe the wrong color siding gets delivered, despite the order being placed perfectly. Or maybe a downspout gets cut short. Honestly, it could be anything. At RGS Exteriors, mistakes are rare. But if something goes wrong, I can absolutely, positively, 100% guarantee you we'll never hide it and we'll never pass the buck. We'll make certain everything turns out right for you. That's people over profits. That's the RGS Exteriors way. For a free estimate on siding, gutters, or windows, call 801-280-3110, rgsexteriors.com, rgsexteriors.com.
Join KSL for a Friday night movie show special this Friday at the Jordan Commons Megaplex Theater in Sandy as Steve and Andy celebrate the opening of Ghostbusters.
Devotion to country, service to Utah. Brent Orrin Hatch had a front row seat watching his father serve our state faithfully in the Senate. A constitutional conservative and lifelong Republican, Brent Orrin Hatch is a champion for the rule of law. He's running for Senate to stop this lawless president from destroying our country from within. Hatch will fight to secure the border once and for all and take on Mexican drug cartels to halt the flow of deadly fentanyl. Brent Orrin Hatch knows the national debt is just as big a threat to national security. Hatch won't rest until the budget's balanced and won't cave to the big spenders in both parties. Pro-life, deeply committed to religious liberty, rock-solid Utah conservative. Brent Orrin Hatch for Senate. Paid for by Conservative Outsider PAC, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.copac.us.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same. But at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high-commission investment products, right?
No. Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Hi, this is Julie from the Visitors Bureau in Logan, and things are looking up. The sun is out, and you should be too. Spring break is just around the corner, so book your stay, pack your bags, and come and play. We're kicking off spring break with the annual Original Baby Animal Days at the American West Heritage Center. You'll be spread out over 160 acres of beautiful scenery while you pet all the baby animals like lambs, goats, piglets, bunnies, and chicks. March 28th through the 30th also features exotic animals. You can see baby bears from Yellowstone Bear World April 3rd through the 6th, which is also when Baby Animal Days combines with the annual Mountain Man Rendezvous. Watch demonstrations like flint and steel fire starting, bullet making, and leatherworking and scrimshaw. Wait, do you even know what that is? It doesn't matter. Come and see at the American West Heritage Center. Logan has so many great things to do. Come for spring break or anytime you need a break. Vacation in Logan. Just get in the car. ExploreLogan.com. ExploreLogan.com.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
The Utah RV Palooza is back and packed with new and used RVs to fit every budget. March 21st through the 24th, come to the only free RV show in the area at the Mountain America Expo Center. Shop travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, motorhomes, truck campers, and more. You'll find monthly payments starting under $149 per month on approved credit for select new RVs, like a new 2024 GoPlay 19BH travel trailer. You'll also find huge savings on used motorhomes. We've got select 2023 and 2024 low mileage models from Thor and Jayco heavily discounted. The best deals don't last, so start shopping now at UtahRVPalooza.com and make sure to tour the full lineup of GoPlay travel trailers, one of the fastest growing RV brands in Utah. Get special financing options like 0 payments until June OAC, as well as clearance pricing on all remaining new 2023s. And unlike other shows, free admission. Don't miss the Utah RV Palooza. 4 days only, Thursday, March 21st through Sunday, March 24th at the Mountain America Expo Center. See you there. Stock number L75171. Based on 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Subject to prior sale. See dealer for details.
Peyton was a very kind and giving person.
At 15 years old, he sustained life-threatening injuries from a motorcycle accident that took his life. His family felt like Peyton would want to save others and made the decision to donate his organs. Because of their generosity, his organs saved a 2-year-old girl, a teenage boy, and others that were desperate in need of life-saving organs. Go to donorconnect.life and read about what it takes to become a donor. Did you know many people think that they're too old or not in good enough health to be a donor? Anyone can be a donor. If you were told that it could save the life for someone close to you, or even a stranger, would you please donate? April is National Donate Life Month, the perfect time to check your driver's license to make sure you said yes to giving the gift of life. Or visit donorconnect.life to register as a donor. That's donorconnect.life. Give hope, heal life.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a huge wreck on I-15 tied up traffic for hours this morning. One man who was driving the wrong way was killed. Second, Apple is facing a new antitrust suit, claiming they make it harder to use competing smartphones. And third, here's our KSL bracket update. Every 15 minutes, here's Jason Jones with the update.
And so far, we've avoided any major upsets, unless you consider Duquesne over BYU at 11-6 an upset, which I don't really. And Mississippi State over Michigan, Michigan State as a 9 over Mississippi State as an 8. Neither of those two really rise to the level of being a big upset. However, right now, Morehead State and Illinois are going back and forth in the second half. Morehead State, the 14 seed, Illinois, the 3 seed. Looks like this one's going to come down to the wire. Just before halftime, Oregon over South Carolina 29-22. I'm Jason Jones with the KSL bracket update. Follow NCAA tournament updates and all other sports updates on KSLSports.com. Now back to Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson.
Hear elevated conversation on crucial issues. Boyd Matheson on Inside Sources.
Welcome back to Inside Sources here on KSL News Radio. It is great to be with you today. As always, I am Boyd Matheson, and as we round out the program today, we talk about a lot of different things on this show, and some things come and some things go. Some things matter, and some things matter more. And today is one of those days. Not because there was BYU basketball, not because it's the beginning of March Madness, which I love. But more importantly, today is World Down Syndrome Day, a day that's designed to celebrate life and bring awareness to the human needs, not simply the special needs, the human needs of people with Down syndrome. I believe every life, no matter the disability or the difference, is full of infinite worth and endless possibilities. And I actually want to go. I saw this morning. Like, this just brought a smile to my face this morning. Turned it on CBS. This morning, Mia Armstrong, who is Down syndrome, has a new children's book out that is so powerful, and I want you to hear just a little bit of her story and what she hopes people will do and how they'll look at her and others like her.
I love how you start. You say, I know people aren't used to seeing someone like me. I tell them, don't whisper, don't look away. What do you want them to do?
I want them to look at me and to be kind to others with or without disabilities. So just an ability is a different ability.
And sometimes they can start by just saying hello.
Yeah.
So sometimes a disability is just a different kind of ability. I love that. Mia's mom says parents have needs to foster this open and kid-friendly dialogue with their kids about kids with Down syndrome.
I think that we need to arm neurotypical parents with the tools to teach their children how to teach kids that have differences or disabilities. And I think that's one area that we're lacking in, is the tools for parents to sit and explain in an age-appropriate way what it means to have Down syndrome.
So the book, a children's book, it's called I Am a Masterpiece. I Am a Masterpiece. I love that. I think a lot of us need that, not just our Down syndrome friends, or our young people who need to learn about their friends who have Down syndrome. I think this is for everyone. I want to play one more little clip from Mia's mom that she talked about raising a child with Down syndrome, what it has meant for her, the privilege that it is, and the lessons that they've learned in the process.
Oh, it's a privilege. It's a privilege to
It really is a privilege.
It is a privilege to raise a child with Down syndrome. Mia has taught our family so much about patience and persistence. And
Are you sure about that?
I am sure about that. Yeah.
Okay.
And you inspire me every day because you never give up and you live in the moment.
There's no way you cannot smile no matter what's going on in your day today. That should have brought a smile to your face. I love the fact that Mia corrected her mom a few times in terms of what her mom was learning about patience, living and raising a child with Down syndrome, and all of that is so important. I have to tell you, the very beginning of my day today, very early this morning, I got a picture from a good friend, Doug Dingman, and his Down syndrome son, Sam. Who I love and who is absolutely extraordinary in more ways than we could count and more time than we could spend on this show. But a real friend and a real example in terms of how we see each other. It's not just seeing the best in others, it's seeing each other's. And I think that's one of the things that we can all learn from our friends with Down syndrome. Because they don't see you for your title. They don't see you for where you live or where you work. They don't see you for what you believe or don't believe. They don't see you for the color of your skin or where you grew up. They just see you. It's an extraordinary thing. And the thing that I have learned from my Down syndrome friends is that they just see you. And I think that's an extraordinary lesson that we all need to get to if we're going to do things just a little bit better in this country. And so as we celebrate World Down Syndrome Day, as you look around and as you see some of our friends with Down syndrome, make sure you do exactly what Mia invited everyone to do on national television today, to just say hi, to just go up and say hi, to engage in that conversation. And whether it's a high five or a hug, or just a smile and a how are you doing, it makes all the difference. And I guarantee you it will make a difference in your day as well. I am convinced, and I've said this before on this show, that I think as a society we stand taller and we stand stronger when we stand for those who cannot stand for themselves. Our Down syndrome friends are fellow travelers with us on this road of life. And I think it's interesting, their struggles with some of the daily tasks that the rest of us take for granted. They possess skills and abilities that we all would be really wise to emulate. So rather than just looking at where they struggle, we should look at what we can learn from them. Because they have some extraordinary gifts and skills that we all should be emulating. They may struggle with speech, but their capacity to love is endless, and it actually doesn't require them to utter a single word. They may have difficulty making decisions. But the thing I love about our Down syndrome friends, they never judge. They have an amazing ability to accept everyone for who they are and where they are. And while our Down syndrome friends may strain to work or to learn, they always seem to be forever teaching. That's an important thing for us.